Hey everyone, Liz Klimek here, Planetarium Manager at the South Carolina State Museum. Well, we have a mishmash of different things for you in this episode, including Mars, the evening sky, and something we haven't done in a while, the morning sky. But to get started, we will look at the evening sky this upcoming Saturday, February 27th at 7 p.m. We are facing directly south from Columbia, South Carolina. We have a little bit of evening twilight left over here. It's not completely dark yet at 7 p.m., but you should be able to see high overhead this reddish-orangish star-like object, which is going to be the planet Mars. It's been up in our evening sky for quite some time now, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to catch you up on some Mars current events. So if you haven't heard, NASA landed a new rover on Mars called Perseverance, or Percy for short, on February 18th. Everything went amazingly, swimmingly well, and lots of images, video and sounds have been coming in from the rover. And the latest image is, at least at the time of this recording, is this one, which I'd like to share. This is an amazing picture, the first panorama taken by Percy's Mastcam Z. Those, or Mastcam Z, is basically two cameras that both serve as the main eyes of the rover. Kind of like a person has two eyes, Percy's two eyes belong to Mastcam Z. The Z stands for zoom, and this camera just has, or camera system I should probably say, has amazing zoom capabilities, and that's what this combined image here demonstrates. So this is a 360 panorama. And if you go look at the original image on NASA's website, you can zoom in and out and just pan across the landscape and just immerse yourself in this image for hours, probably. But what I love about this image is they've drawn a tiny little square. If you see that little square off to the left of the image, that has been blown up, so you can see this tiny little spot off in the distance. And you blow that up and you can see how much detail is contained in this picture. There's a little distance bar at the bottom of that inset, 50 centimeters. So that inset is about 100 centimeters across. That's a little more than 3 feet. And you can still see how sharp that image is. And it's basically, we're looking off into the distance, and that's how much detail we can get. So I cannot wait to see all of the images that Percy is going to take with this particular camera system in the future. And we've been getting a lot of questions about the Ingenuity Helicopter, the first ever helicopter that is set to fly on Mars. Ingenuity is currently stowed on the underside of the rover. It has reported in that it is alive and well. It's currently charging. Once Percy is ready to drive, Earthbound Martians at NASA's headquarters will basically try to find a nice spot for Ingenuity to do its test flights. And the last estimate I heard said that that probably won't happen any earlier than 60 sols from the landing date. So if you've not heard of a sol before, that basically refers to a Martian day. So an Earth day is 24 hours. That's how long it takes for Earth to spin around once on its axis. And a Martian day takes 40 minutes longer. So 24 hours and 40 minutes for Mars to spin around once on its axis. So here's a question for all you math enthusiasts out there. How many Earth days corresponds to 60 sols? Well, there is a lot more. We could spend tons of time, this whole time, talking about Mars, but I love Mars. I hope you do too. But I figured that you probably want to see and learn about other things in the night sky. So we will go ahead and go back to our evening sky scene here. Now, in our evening sky scene, Mars is next to some familiar winter constellations that we have talked about quite a bit in recent episodes: Taurus the bull, Orion the hunter, and his two hunting dogs, the big dog and the little dog. And they are still up in the evening sky for you to enjoy. But I don't want to spend too much time on them because we have talked about them a lot fairly recently. And I just don't want it to be too redundant. So let's go ahead and head towards the dawn. I like to do this by stepping forward hour by hour so you can slowly go through the evening and see how much the sky changes. So here we are at 10 p.m. We've gained the moon there, which is mostly full. It's 11 p.m. Midnight, technically the morning of Sunday the 28th, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3, and we'll just keep going until we get to the pre-dawn hour of 6 a.m. So this is 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, the 28th. We do have that mostly full moon up here, which will kind of dominate that night's or morning sky scene, I should say. The moon is beautiful to look at when it's out, but it does tend to drown out dimmer things. However, there is a bright pattern of stars high overhead. I'll have to zoom out a little bit here to show you that better. But high up in the southeast is a large triangle made of 3 very bright stars. This is not an official constellation, but an asterism called the Summer Triangle. An asterism is kind of an unofficial constellation, if you will. And notice I said Summer Triangle because while it is winter, if you go to the morning sky, you are going to see constellations or star patterns associated with the opposite season. So you're getting a preview of what's to come in the summer evening sky. So I showed you the Summer Triangle high overhead, closer towards the southern horizon. There is this J shape right here, or kind of fish hook, and that is Scorpius the Scorpion, another generally prominent summer constellation. Now I want that pesky moon to get out of the way, so what I'm going to do is fast forward time again, but this time we're going to stay at 6 a.m. early in the morning, but go forward day by day into and through the next week. So this is the end of February, where we're going to head to March 1st, March 2nd, and 3rd. As we keep going, you can see that moon starting to shrink or wane as it heads towards the east, and that just has to do with its phase cycle as it changes shape and position from night to night or day to day. Now, you might have focused all your attention just on the moon, but if you happen to look off towards the southeastern horizon, you might have noticed these 3 dots over here doing a little dance. So I'll rotate this round so you can see this better. These points of light here are 3 planets. So we have Jupiter, Saturn, and then this little guy here is Mercury. Now, Jupiter and Saturn were in the news a lot in mid-December when they came into conjunction. These 2 planets were really close to each other in the evening sky. They're back together up in the sky, but you can see that they're much further apart. They're each orbiting around the sun in their own orbits, and this is their configuration at this date and time. So they've gone around the sun, so they're no longer in the evening sky. They've looped around, and now they're in the morning sky. Jupiter will probably be the brightest of them, then maybe Saturn, but they are still kind of low on that horizon, so they might not be quite so obvious. And then Mercury here will definitely be really, really tricky to see. It's always tricky. Just because it's the first planet from the sun, it's always near to the sun in the sky, either really low on the eastern horizon near sunrise or really low on the western horizon near sunset. And as such, it tends to get lost in the glare of the sun. It's also not very big. It's only a little bit larger than the moon, so it doesn't have a lot of surface area to reflect sunlight back at us, and so that just really doesn't help. But I like to point out Mercury because sometimes we get folks who are just really good stargazers and they are kind of bored because they know how to find all of the prominent star patterns and star clusters and whatnot, and they want a challenge. So if you're one of those people, this is one of my favorite challenge objects to point out. Mercury is tricky to see because you need a very clear view of that horizon, unobstructed, excellent viewing conditions, and it really helps to know where to look. And right now, Jupiter being right here kind of helps serve as a landmark in the sky. So if you can spot Jupiter here in that morning twilight glow, then that gives you a better chance of finding Mercury to its lower left. And if you don't find Mercury or any of these planets, that's okay, because there will still be a beautiful moon for you to enjoy in the morning sky, and that one will be hard to miss. So with that, I will just say thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are excited to learn more astronomy, don't forget that the Boeing Observatory at the State Museum does a live stream on Facebook every Saturday evening. You can check out the museum's Facebook page or our website at scmuseum.org for more information about that. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other most definitely. Don't forget to click below to like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.